Hello, this is James Cook of the University of Maine at Augusta, and I'm shooting this video today in order to highlight the Maine State Legislature website and to talk about how to interface with it. So the way to get there is to go to the website mainelegislature.org. That couldn't be simpler. Once you're there, however, you're presented with some pretty pictures of the Maine State Capitol and a lighthouse and some other things like that, the Hall of Flags, and a lot of links. It's a little overwhelming at first. But what I'd like to draw your attention to is at the center, a set of boxes. So if you are looking for a particular bill, you can search for an LD number, that stands for Legislative Document Number. If you know it by its other designators, yes, the Maine State Legislature has different numbers for the same bill, including Senate paper, House paper, and so on. Then you can type that in as well, making sure to select the right kind of paper that you're interested in. These are all bills, pieces of legislation. But if you don't know what you're looking for and you're just starting with an idea and you're looking for a bill on a subject, you might want to try searching the text of a bill. So let's imagine that I was interested in looking up some bills that had to do with human trafficking. I'd want to make sure to spell the phrase correctly, but I'd enter that and then hit search. And when I completed that, I would get a set of bills, some of which might be relevant and some of which might not. So notice the first two bills here, right, are about legal name changes upon marriage, abortion services for Maine Care members, children's mental health, Maine Care family planning benefit. Often just searching the text for a particular set of words doesn't work. We could go back and we could try putting that text for that phrase in quotes. And often in search engines, what that does is say, look, search engine, I don't just want to have the words human and trafficking. I want to have those two words put together into the phrase human trafficking, always together. And let's see if that gives us a different result. Yes, it does. So here's LD 324, which is also House Paper 249. It's a little confusing, I know, but you can work with it. It's an act regarding forfeiture of assets of persons convicted of aggravated sex trafficking offenses, and so on and so forth. Okay, criminal forced labor offenses. This is human trafficking. That's wonderful. It looks like it's a little bit more relevant, our results here, but we can even do more than that. So let's go back again to the Maine Legislature page, and let's click Advanced Bill Search. It's a link right in the upper right of that section. So you'll notice here in this Advanced Bill Search, you can search for a number of things. Okay, so you can include all kinds of things. You could include, if you do a drop-down menu, you can include bills from previous legislatures. You can search the title for human trafficking. You can search the subject for human trafficking or whatever you're interested in. So you can search for roll call numbers if you know what they are. If you know that it's a bill that was introduced by someone or sponsored by them, that means that they are behind this bill. Then you can pick who that sponsor is. You can do just one of these, or you can do many of these options all at once. So let's imagine I put in something in the title, human trafficking. Let's see how that does. I'm not going to get anything. Why is that? because the set of subjects for bills in the Maine state legislature they're in fairly standardized language. So if I put my search term in there, it might not appear. What about the title? Now remember that title of that other bill that looked just right. If I put human trafficking in there, it's going to give me no messages, right? Or no bills, no results. If I just go to trafficking, then I get 2 bills here. And that's interesting, right? So often what you'll want to do is play around with your terms and switch them around, think about synonyms. What about if I have subject for trafficking? Only one, okay? Now this is LD 548. It's an act to prohibit a person who is a minor from being charged with a crime of prostitution under the legal theory that if you're under the age of 18, you're really not able to consent significantly to such a practice. So why are we criminalizing this? So on the other hand, if I put trafficking in title, but not in subject, I have 2 completely different sets of bills, right? Than if I put it in the subject. What is the lesson here? And then if I go back and I search the text, which you can do on the main page, I get an entirely different set of bills. You probably want to do all 3 until you find a bill or a set of bills that you're interested in. Now, let's go back and let's think about that bill. If I put trafficking in the subject, LD 548, let's say I'm interested in looking at that bill. If I click on that link, right, that said LD 548, it takes me to this summary page. Now the summary page tells me some very basic things about what happened. It tells me who the main sponsor is, the person who really introduced the bill, although it's written by legislative staff. It tells me about a set of actions, including becoming a law. It is now public law as of May 19th, 2019. But there's more to find out about this, okay? So one of the things that we can do is we can click here over on the left. And what you're going to see is the look of the page changing. So that this is reflecting the fact that in the Maine state legislature, there are really 2 separate databases for bills, and they haven't figured out how to put them all together in one database yet. And so you often will see the resulting look of these pages change around a bit. But we noticed that the one person who said, okay, I will have my name introduced as put in there as the primary sponsor, the person who put this bill forward and is willing to have their name signed to have it be a bill. We can also look at multiple sponsors. This is a little confusing. They're called co-sponsors. They're people who sign their name on to a bill to say, yes, I support this bill. So here we see that there are 4 individuals, right? Sponsored by Bill Diamond and then co-sponsored by these other senators. Great. So by the way, we noticed that up here it's an SP 170 Senate paper that indicates that it was introduced to the Senate. And then if we go back to the summary, we'll note that it was passed through the House and Senate, right? So we can find amendments. Was it amended in committee? Yes, there was an amendment. I click on that by clicking amendments. I find this information, and then there was a House action to adopt the amendment, and then there's this link, more information. We can find out what happened there, and that takes us here to a whole bunch more information. Okay, you can also get to this page. Notice here's the adopted amendments. Amendment CA, okay? You can also get to this through bill text and other docs, okay? And that will take you to this page. This page has more information in it. You can look at the bill either as HTML quick view, as a Word document, something to download, or as a printed PDF document, which is a PDF is something that you can look at no matter what computer you're on. Let's do a quick view. We can take a look at this bill. We can read it. There's a brief summary down at the bottom. That's helpful. So that's the text. Then there was an amendment we can look at. Okay, and we're striking out is 18 years of age or older and inserting instead the following has in fact attained 18 years of age. Sounds like a lawyer difference. I'm a sociologist. I don't actually know what the difference between that is, but it probably means something different in terms of law. So you can read all that stuff. You can read the final chaptered law, and that's wonderful. But wait, there's more. You can read if there are divided reports, which means that there's one right. So there's a report indicates that there's dissent. In this case, there was dissent. One individual of Monticello thought it ought not to pass. Here are all the people on the committee where it came from that thought, yes, it ought to pass. We could look at the status in the committee. It'll tell you what the committee was. And what's more, though, is that when you click on status in committee, you will see a link for, I know this is hidden a little bit, but follow me on this, public hearing testimony, 11 items. Now, if you're studying the rhetoric that is being used to talk about a social problem, this is choice material. Click the plus or the link itself to open it up, and it will tell you, wow, what are these 11 items? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There they all are. There's a file size listed over here, which gives you a hint that when you click here, you're going to have individuals' testimony come up, and it's going to come up as a PDF file, I believe. Let's find out. You also get information here about the affiliation of these individuals who are testifying. So let's take a look at Jenna Menert and her testimony. Click on that. And it is generating this file for me. It is in a PDF format. And it includes the text of this testimony. It includes arguments, claims, warrants, grounds, all that material that you can use to talk about how this bill was discussed, on what basis, by what groups, who had what interests. This is where we get into not just what happened, but what the thinking was behind what happened. And that is often even more interesting than the text of the bill itself. I hope this information has been helpful to you. Please follow this pattern when you're looking through at bills. Look at all that information, and you will be able to get a much more rich understanding of the social problems that are addressed through bills in the Maine state legislature.